Okay, we are started. We are live. Things are working. It is cold. Okay. Okay, and dogs have left the door open, so my heater is completely useless. Awesome. Okay. Why can I not delete that? Hey, Exy, how you doing? No, why can I not delete that? Restoring packages. Oh, because restoring packages requires Baguette to be running, because Blazor does not like. Rider does not like having a stuck NuGet package. Doing all right. Day off today, so hanging out until the hangers. Nice. Yes, is a day off, so I figured I would continue my normal schedule, and because I am not streaming for most of the week this week, so it gives me a chance to get something done. There you go. Delete project and follow. Okay, I was just checking that what I created today was a Razor class library. Okay. Gemini. So I am trying to learn about several things at once while building out a new project. So project is developers.stream. It is an existing site that I have run, or I've had for over 5 years. I'm hoping to build something a bit better with it in terms of a platform that can help promote and support developers who stream, whether it be game dev or app dev. The ability to, have some discoverability and control the message about you when shared in other streams. Yeah. Okay. So what we were doing last week was we were building out a general layout of what we're doing. Where was that? App. That's me. My hand's so cold it doesn't. My fingerprints don't work. Hey Ty. Not platformer. A platform. I'm not building a game. Welcome in. Hope you're well. Yeah. No worries. Easy. There's so many game devs on Twitch that it's not surprising. So where did I go with the page? That's that. Did I cut it out and then shut the stream down? That'd be hilarious. I think I did. Oh dear. Okay, let's see if I mess this up the way I think I messed this up. Oh no, I'll probably put it in home. Yeah, put it in home. Okay. Okay. So what we were doing the other day was building the basics of the site out just to kind of get some visuals on what I'm looking to do. And what we were doing, we get there eventually, is trying to lay out a basic look, right? Nothing advanced. We'll get the basic look in place. So we'll have a search bar. I've just put a button in there for no reason. We got some font in there. We got the banner. Oop. And then we'd have cards representing the streams. The concept being that you would have the screenshot of the stream as well, or a placeholder, right? And then the platforms on which they're based, and then the tags. These tags would be able to help you kind of for discovery and sorting. We'll put limits on it so that you don't end up with, like 50 tags and whatnot. But ultimately, the idea would be able to set tags, and yeah, that's that. And then if your stream's offline, it would show down here, right? So you would just see offline streams. Obviously, spacing, size, etc. I'm not trying to get to that level. And 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. My the temperature has dropped to about 10 Fahrenheit, and with my door open, there's a draft right down. So anyway, so yeah, this is the basic concept. I don't want to play too much inside, but I want to get the concept, the structure in place of an application that's going to be. And the idea is this is an open source platform, which hopefully so once I've got the basics established, what I'll be able to start thinking. I don't want to say, hey, if you're interested in this too soon, otherwise other people's stamps on what they think is good, what they think is what is the structure of it, and then follow that. That's so I don't want to just trust that anyone can put you Blazor if that's what. So I want to establish a structure there. Please. I'm not trying to be ridiculous about this. So it's great, uniform, sort of what. So, what we're going to do at the end of life, and create control of this. How fast? Okay, so that's all right. But there's not. It was fine. Is it a noise bait? Yeah, it's muffled. Well, we try to turn it on and off again, off and on. Oh, that worked. I unplugged the microphone, unplugged it back in again from the actual microphone, the XLR, and I up the boost, up the volume a bit. Oh well. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for calling that out so quickly, though. I've had that where in the past where people haven't called anything out for over half an hour. So yeah. Okay. So as I was saying, I don't want to jump too quickly into accepting PRs on this because if I do, then I'm going to end up with and hello, Emporium guy. My apologies. Thank you also for that. I don't want to jump too quickly into accepting PRs because then I lose control over the application. Got to keep up that pace. You got to keep it up, and people will arrive eventually. It's hard when people don't attend. Um, so yeah, I want to get the basics of the structure basics applied. I want to get the data hooked up. I want to get some of those pieces in place, and then say, hey, if you're interested, you're more than welcome to contribute. But if I just open it at this stage, it's not going to be very friendly. So I'm not going to accept any PRs at this point. Anyway, just structuring things out. When I was streaming, I wasn't streaming for them, so it's fine. I just don't stream. Don't have the time. Line hype. Um, yeah. Um, okay. So let's get for reference, by the way, I am not a Blazor fan. I will put it that way. I am not a someone who understands necessarily how Aspire and Blazor and all these things are meant to come together. But this is a .NET application, open sourced. Picking up Angular or picking up something else will make this more intimidating, and having it as a full .NET stack will be a little bit more appealing from a learning perspective for people coming into the application. So that's why I'm using these technologies. It's not for personal preference, because personal preference would put me somewhere very different. But it does help. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to create a control. First of all, hello, how you doing? How is your Monday going? We're going to call this streamer card. Paste that there. We didn't cut everything out, so we're good there. Really, dog? Personal preference Ruby on Rails. Hello, buddy. Thanks, dog. The room just got warm. Now go again. Like, I heard your room was warm, so I thought I'd make sure it wasn't too warm. So if I get this right, I reference the the components from both the client and the web. And now I can create client and web versions of the page and use the component in both. But now, how do I put data in that? Risk this again. Okay, let me know if the sound goes wonky. That sounds good. Okay. I can't have the door open, it'll just be too cold. Okay. So what's the right way to do this? Do I create a streamer card Blazor.cs, and then that's a partial then, won't it? And then that has properties on it, I assume. So that I can load the card with a title, description. I am just guessing here. I'm not for each bar badge in badges. Let's do command hands. You can get past the cold. So we need title, description, and badges at the very least right this second. The platforms we'll worry about afterwards, because obviously they're kind of components into themselves, right? So we'll worry about nesting that later. So then public string name. What did I put that as name or title? Title. Streamer name. Public string description. Yeah, I am making this up as I go along. I am hoping to have this make sense in a second. I am not sure. How this actually works. So okay. Okay, so they become parameters. I've just got the Blazor help up at the side. Just to be clear, I'm not doing this totally. There's no point flicking back and forth when all I'm doing is looking up basics of Blazor, right? Okay, so that puts that there. So now in here, I can reference streamer card, right? And I can set streamer name equals Rambling Geek. Good boy. Thank you. Description equals Tinkerer. Gadget here. Developer. Badges is how do I do an inline array here? It's going to be interesting. We'll figure out an array of badges afterwards. Let's see if we can run that now. I need a big stick, or I need to move my desk. I mean to push the door closed, not to make the dog not want to. No, I would never do that. Okay. There we go. There's our card, right? So now that's a component. That's a little smoother. Into the room, got warm. I thought you meant the dog fighting my dog. Gassy stage. I'm like, oh. No. These are less than 2-year-old dogs. We have 2 of them, Loki and Taylor. And they are very friendly, but they jump back and forth between my wife and I. And yeah, he's feeling coming in here right now, which is great, but the room is getting freezing cold. Instantly. Freezing cold. And it's far enough away that I have to do that. So 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So we have a card, we have badges. I don't know. I mean, obviously this is going to be fed from data eventually. And these labels will do. So we can probably take out all of these now. The row and column stuff is going to be, I'm not panicked about that. Let's take out, let's do another one. Streamer card. Streamer name equals line. Description equals badges equals. I don't know how to put an array into a into here necessarily. That's the problem. That seems like because that will C#, that won't work. That won't work. You can't do that because that's not a string. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, because it's not it's not just that. You can't do that because of the string encoding. So you kind of need to do that. I don't think even that'll work. Maybe. What did I put? C sharp. Blazor. What's .NET? Any interviewers in the chat or trainers? Interviewers as in people who interview for jobs or way after? Hello, Gilgamesh. Okay, so there we go. So that's how we do that. We do at, parens, square braces. Yeah, what do you want to know? I'm not currently interviewing, but I have interviewed over my career. Right? Yeah. Working on .NET, but never learned it the official way. What's the official way? I've interviewed and I've interviewed people. I'm about to switch jobs. I'm not entirely sure what the official way of learning .NET is. You mean you've never done college? Okay, so we can remove one line card. One line card. Let's put another streamer card in there. There you go. Module forward. Thank you for helping me there. And let's remove module forward. Yeah, in college, so I don't know what to prepare or where to start. I mean, so you're going for a junior role. So, I mean, just be ready to talk about what you've done so far and I mean, for you, I suppose, brush up on some of those theoretical basics. Well, theoretical. Um, I mean, straight out of college, no employer should be looking for you to be a .NET expert. More likely, they're going to ask you generic questions on, you know, algorithms and things like that. Senior dev. How are you going for a senior .NET dev job if you're not sure where to prepare? Have you been doing .NET for years as a developer, and now you have to change roles? So that needs div class call. So that would need that div class call. Is that that? The biggest thing for me is how do you show that you're curious? How do you show me what you're passionate about? You're feeling like the whole t-shirt developer thing. Senior dev are usually required to be able to work without much help and be able to break down and implement larger tasks. Yeah. I'm working as a software engineer for 4 years. They put me on a different stack and I learn what's necessary to get the job done. Not in depth for each of those stacks. Right. Um, I mean, I'd be prepared to talk about technologies, how you might combine them, how you might use them, what sort of um, it very much depends on the interviewer, depends on how they're doing that. Senior devs are unicorns with all hats. um, nah, it's a senior.NET dev role, though, you're going to be looking at needing to at least be very, very competent with database technologies, with web technologies, depends on what stack they're using. I'd make sure you understand what sort of role it is before you even go in there, because if they start asking you about React or Angular or everything, are you prepared for that? Most places are looking or saying they're looking for full stack. Very few places I've seen do say backend only. I'm saying from an understanding perspective, if you don't know, you don't know. But I'm saying just understand what sort of stuff they might ask you about. I'm not saying try and brush up and pretend you know everything about Angular. That's not going to happen before an interview. They asked me, "Do you know Kubernetes?" My answer, no. Yeah. But if it's on the job listing that you're going for, at least if you understand you can or can't. And so if they're saying, hey, we need Angular, you say, well, look, I've been working in React for 5 years. The frameworks, yes, although they have differences, they are similar. Being able to answer that question and be confident in the answer is the sort of thing I'm talking about there. I'm not saying go in and con your way through a job by lying. Okay, no. If someone, yes, but if I don't know, I don't know. Yeah, that's true. Um, yeah. Um, you don't have to have. Some places will never check open source stuff. Um, the opinions of Emporium Guy are his own. um, Ads will start in a couple of minutes. Yeah. How did I represent offline here? I represented offline via yeah, okay. So do I put in the component has the concept of offline? You won't be allowed to link, but you're more than welcome to ping it to me in a PM. I'll review and then post it. You can find a project that you're interested in and have tickets tagged as good for beginners or what they call it. This is going to be... Yeah, just create a large platform that takes you 14 months to get to and then decide on a weekend that you want to rip out the UI a bit and then have everything on the floor and never working again. Google for Shellcode, your first open source contribution. Okay. You can, again, if you want to send the link, you're more than welcome to, but yeah. The chat is restricted because of bots, the bot issues. I wouldn't, so as much as I would suggest going to do open source software, I think the contribution there is definitely valuable. That should not be a gut reaction to trying to get into a job necessarily. Like, contribute because you care about contribution to the project. Don't contribute because you're trying to get, hey, look, I contributed to these projects. I've never had an employer ask me about my GitHub. My GitHub and my name are out there, so if people do Google me, they can find it. But no one's ever asked me any questions about my projects, etc. Oh, absolutely. But you've also got 4 years of development experience as well, from the sounds of it. Just not in maybe .NET. So you're looking for your first chance in .NET. So they might not be keen to hire you for a senior developer role in .NET when you've been programming for years, but you are not a .NET developer professionally. But it's worth going into the interview and talking and finding out what they want and what they're expecting of you, because that will set you up for the future. So I would say don't worry if you don't get that, but it's a chance. Yeah, I mean, I share my GitHub across 2 different GitHubs, right? Online status. Let's put that in there for now. Parameter public rule is live, and then we're going to do private online private string online status is live, string empty, otherwise offline. That might be the hackiest thing I've done in a while, but never mind. I think if you've got 4 years, I would talk about that. Sure, you might not know .NET, but it shouldn't be hard to learn on the job. Then you can talk about what you've done that fit a senior dev, regardless of platform. Yeah. Yeah, that's good advice. I agree. Yeah, as to my comment about ripping the UI out. So over the weekend, Mojo spent a bit of time trying to come up with some general layout and design stuff for me. And I decided that it was a good time to update to the latest version of Angular and the latest version of PrimeNG. The Angular update was smooth. It was one line, it worked, it did it, and everything was good. Angular 19, fine. Then I upgraded to 19 of PrimeNG, and everything went downhill. The UI was broken, things weren't working. Then I decided to try and put the new stuff in a better structure, and that just it spiraled out of control to the point where now I can't get data. I can load certain pieces, but I get infinite loops. And yeah, so I'm learning hard how to deal with Angular data. I'm gonna give it a thought, list on all stuff at the end of the world. Yeah. Nice. So you're working in a waterfall kind of manner of here's thing, do thing now, fix thing. You get to work on this piece now, go do that. Not planning or prep or agile or anything like that. online status. Okay, so then I don't know if this will change anything. Yeah. Can I actually type bool with a collection expression? Because I don't think I remember asking that to do that. This will be is live equals true. Is live equals true. And then we're going to remove deflux. I can remember what deflux does. Stream record. Stream name. Deflux streams. Description equals maybe one day. Badges. Blazor. Again, this would be data driven. This wouldn't be this wouldn't be driven by me hand typing these in. This is going to be coming from data. Let's do that. Let's do that. Start to see what it looks like. I've seen a lot of jobs recently that say senior dev, and the job spec doesn't match what you'd expect a senior dev to be, just a dev. I think they're trying to definitely find people who have some ability, but not people like, oh, I want to get into my first job sort of thing. But you know, yeah. So I wouldn't stress too much. I would go into the interview, know what you know, ask questions, and you'll be fine. And like I said, if nothing else, you come out of that with a more solid understanding of what it is an interview might look like. Yeah. Yeah, your experience differs. You have, yes. I can't say it on my stream because the language is not appropriate. Well, that is very true. An interview is not just about you wanting a job and them having a job for you. You're not completely beholden to them. You are seeing if they fit you, if you like them, if you get along with them. It's an important thing to remember, and Phil Schnabel is definitely right in raising that. An interview is not just yeah. You need a good manager relationship. If you meet the manager, make sure you get along with the person. Can you meet the team? We used to do it at the one place I worked at, and I really loved it. Our manager brought in this concept of meet the team. So an interview, they would go off and interview the person one-on-one. They'd interview with that, and then they go bring them to the team, and we get to sit down in a circle or whatever and ask them questions. They wouldn't put them in a position where they were like everyone's focused looking at them, but they put them in a more comfortable, chatty position. I really like that way of doing it because it meant you could see if you fit. Now, in the remote world, tomorrow I might have a colleague, right? And yeah, Tuesday they used to do a team lunch with a new potential candidate. That was good. It's a good idea because again, it's not just does this person get to do a job. But if your business works that way and it's like warm body with keyboard equals work. If you work that way, then it doesn't matter, does it? But if you care about the team fit, if you care about productivity and collaboration, then it is very worthwhile doing that. You give me advice. I have more than 5 years of experience as a Java developer, and I feel like I'm not improving and not as good as I should be as a developer with 5 years. I'm trying to improve on my own learning for certifications and doing projects, but it's not easy since I work a 9 to 5. I don't have a lot of time to do that, and my work does not help me get a lot better. I'm a bit lost if you can offer a word of advice. Um, Hi, Sean. Um, I mean, I'm a big fan. Like, I've looked at certifications and I've looked at um, um, like professional things like that, and I think they do take a lot more time. I'm a big fan of tinkering and learning and looking at projects that exist and taking an hour here or there. Like my stream time is pretty much, for the most part, when I'm in a normal schedule, the only time I get to really do development. Um, of late, the last couple of months, I've been injured, so I've been able to spend a lot more time. But normally, my life, my day to day would prevent me from spending too much time. Um, um, but 5 years in, why do you feel you're not improving? What do you feel it's on the employer to make you improve? Does it fall on their shoulders, do you feel, or um, yeah? I mean, building software. People ask for what project they should work on. Work on something that you care about. Work on something that you engage with because you've got some of the questions answered for you. You can be worrying about the technology rather than the stack, rather than the design itself. Um, but build projects, build software. That's how you get better at building software. I'm going to sound pretentious here a little bit, but it's a craft. It is something that needs refinement. It's something that needs practice and time. Not necessarily, because in a workplace, you're doing what you're asked to do. You're making compromises when asked to make compromises. You're building software in a framework that is um, um, already established. You're not learning because you're not able to stretch that beyond that. If you need to introduce a new pattern, if you need to introduce a new design, you're not able to do that in a code base that's not your own. So you're not going to get better if you're just working in the tools you're working in 8 hours a day. And if you're seeing it as a job as 8 hours a day, do you really care that much? Um, right. To me, the 8 hours is the way I pay for the time to spend out of the time doing what I want to do. Building things like Liquid Sky, building things like developers.stream. This is how I get better. I don't get better by doing my day to day. You've got to practice it if you want to do better and get better. Sadly, an employer is not always going to be able to or willing to give you the time you need to practice and do stuff. A good employer will give you a bit of time every week and some access to training materials so you can go off and learn about technologies and patterns, etc. Barely usable. Hello, by the way, my apologies. The more mistakes you make, the more you understand and improve ability. Yeah, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not get the perfect solution. What matters is you tried and you understand where you failed, and you can come back next time and improve on that. And you only get there if you keep practicing. I'm surprised a lot of what I look for is passion about your craft, what books you're reading, what new frameworks you're looking at, what are some features you see in other frameworks you wish .NET had. Those are some good questions, actually. Um, yeah. I think I learn when I feel a bit awkward, when I think it's easy or comfortable. I'm losing this because you guys are talking nicely. I'm just doing what I was doing. Yeah, you're working with Rails. Your employer should help you grow to the best at your job, but it's almost always on you to advocate for and show your ability to grow to the next job. Yes, absolutely. But if I start doing alone, I will be lost. I need a sort of mentor. Then look for communities like this one. Go in the Discord. go in my Discord, go in OneLine's Discord if you're doing .NET or Java or whatever. There's communities out there with, I mean, it's a growing community, but you're more than welcome to share projects. You're more than welcome to ask about patterns and practices and software. Software is software, whether it be Java or C#. It's still software. You can still talk about it with others. And, if you need encouragement, share, right? In my Discord, at least, if people are critical or cruel in any way, they get gone, right? I don't. There's a card below the stream with a link. I don't have the bot set up. That's the problem. But yeah, there's a card below the stream with the link to the Discord. You're more than welcome to join and hang out there as well. Also, I play games quite much, but I don't really get better because I don't really try. I just like a bit of entertainment. So just doing something much might not give improvements. So what do you want to improve? Yeah. Managers talk on 2 times a year. Don't forget to branch out though. Sometimes the way to learn a new pattern is to build in something else, like learning Erlang to understand why people rave about functional programming. Join, we have cookies. That's a point. I actually didn't understand MVC in .NET when it first came around, so I actually did use Ruby on Rails. I actually went and installed Ruby on Rails, and Ruby on Rails implementation of MVC made more sense to me. So yeah. And Amber in. How you doing? Welcome in. What's going on here? Right now, we are kind of chatting about professional development and growth and interviews and things, but I'm also in the background building a new site for helping support developers who stream, imaginatively called developers.stream. I don't have my shout out buddy today, so yeah. Yes, this is shared on YouTube and Twitch. I stream to both platforms. YouTube is normally very, very quiet though. But all the content, all the 170 videos of Liquid Sky and the 30 videos of Palumi, and now the what episode is this? This is episode 4 of this. Okay, so we have cards, we have components, and I'm not trying to shut the conversation down. Yeah. So yeah, this is my normal project. This is my normal stream project. This is actually a platform I've been building, a product I've been building for the last 14 months on stream for the most part. This is Liquid Sky as its code name right this second, product name pending. And the concept is a product planning and management application to allow, product teams to gather requirements and build out requirements, and then allow developers to go off and work on those requirements in sprints, etc. So this is the main project for this stream. And again, if you're in the Discord, if you want to chat, if you want to ask questions, there's places in there to do that. There's other great communities on Twitch. We cross over a lot of different streams with lots of different experience and lots of different knowledge. So I highly encourage visiting streams. So yeah, that's the day-to-day project. This is the new project, developers.stream. This will be Mondays and Fridays here on the stream normally. This week's a bit off. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to build. So do you take is live equals true? Hot reload, hot garbage. Yeah. Okay. So that breaks it to do it that way. That's interesting. Okay. But we have a card. We're not beholden to this. Now, I guess I've got to learn what the client means in terms of that. So for right now, building things in the web piece, People like One Line who are way more experienced with Blazor are going to be very helpful there. Um, before we finish before I deliberately move forward with development stuff, coming back to a comment that was said before, like you can ask your manager for mentorship. It's not everybody is a good mentor. Some people don't realize they are guiding others in their ways. I had in the past, I was frustrated and irritated with what was available to us, how things were doing, and I have a habit of voicing my opinions. And I got pulled aside and told, stop it, because you are a senior developer, you are influencing those below you. You know, not below you, that's not the right term. You're influencing the less senior developers. You're influencing them because they're looking up to you as a senior and as someone who has more experience in general with the software. They're looking up to you for guidance on how they should do and what they should, so they're looking to you for growth. It's not always apparent, and it's sometimes necessary to kind of ignore the behavior of others and look beyond that and try and I think mentorship is something that's very important. I honestly believe, and I will say this time and time again, that development in general should be an apprenticeship. It would be really good to have the ability to have someone come from school and work for several years as they cross through school into the workplace, and be mentored and guided on a kind of set plan and be able to come out of the other side with not only we can read books, we can look at Carters, and we can look at, oh look, we can implement a sorting algorithm in 3 lines of code, right? But how does it apply to the day to day? Do I use a sorting algorithm every day? Absolutely not. I don't remember when I last used an actual sorting algorithm of any form to do what I do. So I think that it is, especially the way we are now, with technology being what it is, I think teaching this specifically is going to be so disjointed, because someone's going to go off and read a bunch of stuff and watch a bunch of videos and understand it in one way, and then you've got to try and teach to a consistent standard where half your class might have actually gone off and learned it on their own and done things, so they're bored in the class. Whereas in an actual workplace, you're producing software, you're being held to a standard, or you should be being held to a standard. So I think I think the world is different, and yeah, I've been a mentor a few times. It can be very rewarding and very frustrating. I've contemplated offering some mentorship a little bit on the Discord, but I think that would be, I wouldn't be able to give my time necessarily to that. So that is something I've dismissed and just chosen to say, hey, you know what, the Discord's there. You can ask questions, you can jump in and show projects. We do chats quite regularly in the Discord voice channels. It is limited to 6 people. But that's been becoming quite popular. People have been hanging out there, which has been nice. So I don't want to spend too much time playing with the UI here. I got promoted to principal, but they didn't backfill my position, so I'm basically just a senior with extra meetings. Sounds very familiar. I wish I could exercise the mental muscle more. Sorry, I didn't read the last. Yeah. I would love to work with more developers. I would love to work in more team environment. It is my preferred. PX 2. Okay. I'm only tinkering with UI because we are kind of chatting and talking about random stuff. But if anybody does have any questions on this project in particular, you're more than welcome to join in the conversation. You're more than welcome to ask about what the software is. The development of any software on my stream is kind of secondary to the ability to talk about software and things like that. So I'm not turning it into just chatting stream, but it is available if you want to chat more. Anyway, that's what that's going to look like for now. We're going to worry about the layout as we get the data in place. So let's stop that. There is a Rails mentor website out there. I got paired with a few folks and they never wrote back. Why JetBrains over Visual Studio? I've been a fan of JetBrains for a long time. I actually looked back and I was using PHP Storm back 10 years ago or 12 years ago. I've used ReSharper since 2005. When did I go on a unit testing course? I got sent on a unit testing course in 05, I think it was. 05 or 06, somewhere around there. And I've been using, ReSharper since then. And I prefer the speed and just cleanliness of Rider over Visual Studio these days. I've been doing this .NET thing a few years, and I just kind of fell into Rider and love it. Let's get some commits in here. Created RCL for components. So whether that component is necessarily small enough to be really considered a component, maybe there's other things that go in there, the labels and stuff, right? Because right now, Twitch and YouTube is those two labels. Maybe there's a better design there. Break it down into a more composable piece. The screenshot, everything, right? We'll see. I'm a big fan. If you've not been in here for a while, you've not really watched me develop, I'm a big fan of not being afraid to change things. So write some code. If it doesn't work, fix the code. Don't worry about going back and changing what is. As much as possible, be strong in your code. RubyMine's go-to definition is so good, and their Vim emulation through Idea Vim is pretty darn solid. Oh, nice. Just realized that because I have the light up there. Any dirt on my glasses can get really irritating. I just realized I had a smudge. Okay. I also need to get to a point with both projects where I'm not committing large things. Components, moved card to component in class library. Okay, come and push that. Again, initial build. This is a branch. Not taking PRs against the project until we're actually comfortable with the structure. And yeah, is that. Okay. And yeah, if you have any questions, thoughts, opinions on what I'm doing along the way, please feel free to engage. Please feel free to share. A question about something I don't know might trigger me to go off and learn something as well. So I'm always open to that, especially when I'm working in something I am not comfortable with. So let's talk about how data does get down here, right? If I want a list of developers, I can't just, well, this is server side and this is client side. So I don't know when or how to make the distinction yet. So that's going to be a challenge. maybe those pages are actually rendered on the client and the data is sent down via an API. Now, the way that OneLion put this to me is basically what I want to do is I want to make sure that there are interfaces that abstract away the data source, so that then if I have an API client and a database connection, they can go behind. I can create the same thing so that the server can use them and the client can use them. I think that's how I understood it. But for right now, let's create. I'm going to create a solution folder right now. We'll just call it backend. It's not my favorite thing to do that, but I think I've created a source folder. Please tell me I create a source folder. You're going to open or no? Yes, it did. Okay. And in here, we're going to do developers.stream application. I'm going to model this slightly how I would do Liquid Sky stuff because it's the simplest thing for me to deal with from a logic sort of thing. And this would be developers.stream.infrastructure. Things will become apparent shortly. We're going to do source developers.stream.domain. Okay. So we need, okay. Where are you? We need a bit of a think. Okay. And I made this mistake last time I built this site. We have the concept of a streamer here, right? The streamer is a person who can stream to one or many platforms. A streamer will have an account. There's no benefit in with this platform. There is no benefit in having discoverability. We kind of brainstormed a little bit, right? The scanning and register streams. We could do that. We could put in streams that aren't managed by us, but we can't. We'd have to know the difference. So, Dev, good afternoon. How you doing? So scanning and pulling in extra data wouldn't be the same as having a login to a streamer. So what we're talking about here is, so we get login, we have identity in some way, shape, or form. We can't be using auth0 because this has to be self-contained, which is going to be a challenge. If you want to check this out and run with it, right, we need to do that. We're going to need a user. We're going to need this entire concept. A person can log in, and the concept will be that they can link to their stream. So we'll do it, the auth button, and get the authentication token for the platform so that we know they are definitely who they say they are regarding that platform. So we're going to have to store that in some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure how to do that right this second. So there's some questions there, some areas for me to learn, because that's not something I've done before. So this is going to be quite an adventure. But then when the user logs in, they claim the stream, we allow them to set their blurb. Well, they don't even need to, they can log in and not have any streams. But regard to the streamer, the about me blurb, auth access and claim are kind of the same, one and the same thing. Let's make sure they're one and the same thing. Schedule and calendar would be nice so that we can kind of share that right now Twitch does have the concept of that, but obviously that doesn't get shared globally. So if you're a YouTube streamer, there's no calendar. You can schedule next stream, but that's not really helpful. Then we're going to produce an API where you can query for streamers, and so a streamer is a name, and then and then the platforms are available on. This is an interesting one. So my stream on Twitch is TBD Gamer. On YouTube, I am TBD Develops. Right. So what's my streamer? What's my streamer name? Who am I? So I need an identity of some form, but that not that identity. I need an identity of some form that is kind of global, but yeah. Then I stream on different platforms. But you should still be able to find me by TBD Gamer or TBD Develops, right? You should be able to search and find those streams based on that. So, that being said, what is a streamer? Is a streamer and a user the same thing, different things? Yes. A user can be a user of the platform, but doesn't have to be a streamer, right? Because you could have an admin role, allowing people to lock out accounts, etc. You could also have someone log in to do alerting or to get access to API. So a user is not a streamer, but a streamer is a user. But do we need the user concept for right this second? No, we do not. Let's go over here. So streamer, do I represent that necessarily? Because there are streams, but a stream is a platform and a URL. That's it. A platform in terms of being able to indicate to the users, this is YouTube, this is Twitch, this is other platform, right? Start with platform. That's an easy one. Public int ID. Public string name. That. A name, an ID. I don't think we need anything more there. I don't want to necessarily introduce user as a concept right this second. So a stream is public int ID, public int platform ID, public string title. The problem with calling that stream is this is a stream. This episode right this second is a stream. So the wording matters very much here. And I'm definitely open to some help here if anyone has any ideas how to represent this properly. I'm trying to discover the right language. I'm trying to use the right terms at the right points. So if I call this a stream, right, a stream is not something I need to care about necessarily in developers.stream. It's more the platform associated with that user with a URL, right? Channel, is it a channel? So a channel is a platform with a name. Let's try that. No, equals null. It's going to be set. A URL. Click virtual platform. Let's have the navigation property in there. Right. So a channel is a platform with a name and a URL. The name is purely to represent the difference between TBD Gamer and TBD Develops sort of thing. A stream is an instance of a channel. Fair to say? Platform, channel. So a streamer is a public in ID. And as we go forward, as this platform gets built out more, it's very important to keep testing these values, keep testing these names and things like that so that you understand the language you're working in and making sure that you're representing it in the way you speak about it. Because if I don't speak about it this way, it gets very hard to follow along. So public int string name gets set. Public. There's no URL here unless we have some sort of website concept, but right now I think that's an advancement for later. Public string description. That's your blurb. Should we say blurb? Or let's say blurb. Let's say blurb. It looks wholly unprofessional, but yeah. And then we're going to have public. Yep, we get it. Now, is there a... I think there's a streamer ID on this, isn't there? A channel has a platform and a streamer ID. Because a streamer can have many channels. The channel has to belong to a streamer because you've got the tie up there. Let's do this. Let's go design. Create new drawing. ER diagram. So we have platform. I think I might actually have some stuff for this. Do I have a gallery of some form? Browse libraries. Oh, hold on. I can describe this in a better way, right? I can do this differently. I can use new note. This is a domain. Let's call it a domain for either second. We can use mermaid. I think we should be able to use mermaid. Because we can have all the things. I think mermaid has the concept of, yeah. Mermaid doesn't feel useful for, yeah, that's what I want. Mermaid. Title equals models class diagram. Let's see if we get this right. Note. Relationships. Just go that far right now. Okay, so we get a title, and then yeah, let's do that. So now let's do. We have platform. Form. Plus int d plus string name. Yeah, let's move that out there. Platform plus that's it. Oh, interesting. Oh, so you just do basically class platform which is still relevant, right? Platform class channel plus int ID plus int streamer ID plus. So saying there is a concept of a streamer plus string name plus string URL class streamer plus int ID plus string name. Now, it might look kind of nonsensical that I'm spending time doing this, where I'm just messing around with. What's the indicator there? The minus versus plus, is that two-way relationships return. Members. Is there a specific? So I'm looking at, for reference, I'm looking at this. Is there a need to put the pluses and minuses? Or probably not, right? Generic types. I probably don't need the pluses and minuses. Probably we don't need that. that. Figure out what those mean later on. Yeah, there you go. So if I want to represent relationships, I'm going to end up with defining relationships. Oh, okay. So I can do platform channel like that. Yay. And I can do streamer. I can do platform streamer. Platform streamer. No, it's channel streamer. No, it's not platform streamer, is it? It's channel. Channel has a platform. That's the wrong way, isn't it? The arrow's the wrong way. I really need to be saying channel has it links to a platform and channel links to a streamer. It's the right wording. Composition association. There we go. That's why. Inheritance. Right. It's not inheriting. That's the thing. Okay. That's the inheritance. So this is inheritance. That's an association. Right. Composition, aggregation, association, link. Like, so just a link between the two is that. That's probably cleaner right now. Channel platform streamer. Let's go with that for right a second so I don't overthink it. And then this can have many channels. So yeah. Let's not get carried away, eh? All right, channels. Yeah. Let's go with that for a second. Okay. So that's what I'm representing. So I'm trying to document it as I go. As I share the project, as I upload things, as I upload changes, I want to make sure that there's a pattern of documentation in place so that these concepts are clear. People don't introduce quirkiness, etc., along the way. So these are entities, right? These are entities represented in the domain of developers.stream. We have a channel, we have a platform, we have a streamer. The platform we'll worry about decorating with things like imagery and stuff later, because there's no benefit in trying to think about, oh well, we need this icon, this whatever. Right, the second that's represented by, we go here, we see there's SVGs. We could create artwork or whatever. That's a separate thing and store the SVG there, or yeah, there are options. Is that encoded? That's not a set of points, is it? Yeah. And I'm open to opinions here. If you feel that I'm doing something wrong, if you feel I'm not representing something correctly, please jump in, right? This is not a one-way street. And again, this is going to be a community project. So it's important that I continue to solicit feedback. So right now, will that give us everything we need? We got a streamer name, we got description, badges. We need some badges. Are these badges? Badges is a technical concept. Is this labels? I think this is labels, attributes, tags, attributes, tags. Let's go over here before we write any code. So if we were to represent that, we're going to say there's a class squid label, int ID, string text. And then let's go with class tags. And a tag is an int ID of its own, an int label ID, int stream ID. And this has array tags. Because streamer more badges. Does it have the concept of has many? No. Well, I've sent mermaid JSON to a tizzy. Cardinality, that's what I want. 0, 1. So this would be streamer has 1 many tags. There we go. And a tag is many to 1. Label 1 many tags. Many to 1. There you go. It ain't pretty, but it's trying to start laying down the groundwork for what's to come. And ultimately, I'll figure out our way of getting this committed into the repository with as part of the wiki or the documentation or whatever. So 1 to many tags, many to 1 labels. So we need label and tag. I'm not going to go at this from a TDD perspective. I'm not going to start expecting test-driven development to be the norm for this. So I am kind of winging this now. And again, discussion is key. If you're interested in joining along with this eventually, you're more than welcome to. And again, if you're new to the stream, if you're new to this project specifically, you're more than welcome to ask questions. But the intention of this platform is to build a site that will aid in discoverability of streams. So you can go on here and link your streams to your account on the site and help get better promotion. You can put tags on there, you can put a description on there. Furthermore, there'll be an API built that will provide people the ability to query the site for streams. So if someone comes into your stream, and I have this as an idea, basically create a dashboard in the application, that if someone comes into your site as a streamer, and they are a streamer, it will give you the ability to review that before you allow a shout out automatically or whatever, because then you don't want to necessarily shout out everyone or promote everyone that comes in, because a lot of people stream. If it's a community, you want to, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, then ultimately, yes, that could open up. But yeah. Saying that, I am really bad at doing this. Foreign guy does stream. He's learning his way through .NET. He's trying to get better. He's playing with all sorts of technologies, and he has the some days the attention span of a goldfish. When you're working on things, you just go, "Oh, I'll go over here now. I'll go over here now." But that's a common problem. But I'm sure you. But yeah, if you are interested in .NET, one line, Emporium Guy is a .NET developer who's learning very quickly and learning a lot of very cool technologies. You know, a little bit more opinionated than I am, but that's okay. Well, not a little bit more opinionated. I'm opinionated. A little bit more vocal, maybe. We'll go with vocal. Yeah. I am bad, and part of why I'm building this platform is because I am bad at doing that. I am bad at giving the right shout outs at the right time. People come in the stream, and I feel bad when I don't give the right amount of time or the right energy to someone's shout out, and it feels bad. One Lion normally helps me. It is a federal holiday in the US today, so One Lion's quite rightly taking a break, which is awesome. But it's shouting out people and giving them the right amount of help, like description to what they do, and encouraging other people to go follow is something that I think is very vital. If you've taken up streaming before, if you've tried streaming and got bored of it because you just sit there quietly talking to yourself, then it takes time. It takes effort to build some form of community around your stream. And if you're after that, if you're just putting your stream up there just for the sake of it, then fine. And there's no discoverability required, right? But if you're looking to stream, and I think most people are looking to get some sort of feedback or kind of shared community, then this is why I'm trying to build this. Because if you're streaming on YouTube as well, it's not very easy to get found. YouTube is very slow. Okay, so let's create our label. Don't pluralize that. I almost pluralized it then. Everything gets an ID. Now, question. Ooh, let's not change our style now. Question. Migrations or no migrations? Tag. public int ID, public int label ID, public int stream ID. Streamer gets tags. Yes, migration, to migrate or not to migrate? Is the question. I think migrations are the only real thing I should do. I don't like migrations in the beginning purely because you are changing things a lot and the migrations become something to be beholden to. So it gets very difficult if you've got a migration, you're like, oh no, I don't want that object. I want these fields here. Oh no, I've got to do all the migrations. It may or may not catch up. You might just have to wipe them out and start again. It's just the amount of energy that's required. However, if it was just me developing this, like I did with Liquid Sky, I could create a set of scripts. I could create a bunch of stuff around it just to be able to bring up the site and bring down the site, etc. That's okay when I'm me. I'm not just me, right? I am trying to build this so that other people can use it. And I have a very scary dependency coming up. So let's add created some project structure, application, domain, infrastructure, and added some domain entities. Not an ideal commit, but it's fine. So the reason I've done this, the reason I've laid these out, infrastructure is going to take our DB context. It's going to be the actual thing that is the database. The domain is going to, these may have behavior on them eventually, depending on how we do it. But these are the domain, right? The data is just a kind of side of the facet of this information, right? But the domain is made up of the information and the behavior. The infrastructure will contain the DB context. If we're following clean architecture, this is on the very outside, this is on the inside, and then this is on the middle, right in the center. So this can represent this. This can talk to this. This can talk to this. But this cannot talk. This cannot talk to this, and this cannot talk to this. Right? It's a singular direction. In here, what we'll do is we'll set up. Whoa. We'll just click random buttons everywhere, apparently, and just make things go away. What we'll do is we'll put commands and queries in here. Right this second. Right. Oh, no. Needs to go up a level there. Commands and queries will live in here. They'd interact with the infrastructure components via interfaces and therefore the domain. I'm not going to go into eventing and stuff on this one. I'm not going to try and make it that complicated, but we'll see. Zones, how are you doing? How is your Monday? So let us. How you like Aspire? So far, I'm about to find out how much I like Aspire. Overall, I see the benefit from a development perspective. I don't understand how people think it takes them to production yet. I think it kind of does exactly what I've done in Liquid Sky in terms of creating a set of scripts and things that bring up databases, whatnot. Which reminds me, I've got to bring them down. Dot services down, Kafka. this app host is only useful for development. We'll see. We'll see. Start the web up there. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to create a database, and then I'm going to need an app host component added to set that database up. So I'm about to learn a piece there. Now I'm thinking for this one we're going to use Postgre, although we did get Gilgamesh, Cockroach Labs, Postgre. So we'll create a local Postgre database for development. But yeah, Cockroach Labs is something I need to keep thinking about as I go to deploy this application. Which we should have something working in a couple of years, a couple of weeks. I think it by default sets up a cloud native project, just scaffolding built with some integration. Yeah, again, I don't think we should be considering developer machine to production useful for anything but the most simple of projects. I think there's way more pieces involved, and I think it's not. I think representing what you have in production, and actually, I will say that the things you can add into Aspire now would be useful because then you can mimic things like the cloud. But again, I don't think it should be considered production. You can mimic some of the Azure stuff. You can mimic some of the other pieces, and not mimic, but stub them out so that you can use them. But I mean, maybe it's because I don't have that vision because I'm not a cloud developer. I'm not seeing that world, and that's where most people are. See, we'll experiment a little bit more. I'm hoping that someone doesn't come along and start putting their own stamp on app host. That would be bad. So let's figure out how to add Postgre to Aspire. That's probably the quickest thing we can do right this second. We've got, I don't have to finish spot on 9, but I'm not going to run too much over today. We'll get to a good point with this because I have some Liquid Sky stuff I really need to work on. Coming soon, new UI or UI changes to Liquid Sky, which will be fun. What am I doing? Aspire PostgreSQL. Done Aspire Postgre integration. Done add package. Aspire hosting Postgre. Oh, there we go. That's how I do it. So we're going to do manage NuGet packages. Aspire.hosting.postgre. And then we create a builder for Postgre at the database. What does that give me though? How do I get my connection to that? Oh, sure. Why? So to get Postgre in my client application, I now need to install an Aspire. Oh, I'm gonna trust it. I don't necessarily like it. I assume it's using the service discovery nature of Aspire so that I don't have to worry about getting that connection. But I thought app host was kind of like it hangs around for the purpose of the development. App host isn't what you deploy your application still. So what happens to the Postgre parts then? Or do I always need an app host that way then? That's why we're doing it. This is why we're doing this. Postgre var Postgre equals builder dot add Postgres whatever Postgres dot with PG web. Add an administration development platform Postgre to the application using PG web. Let's go with that one. Var Postgres DB equals Postgres dot add database, and that's going to be developers.stream. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. We had a reference that way. Okay, so that's fine. So, what's going to do that then? Our web would get a benefit of a reference. Not sure I like that. The purpose of the web is, if I create an API in the back end, the client version will get the API version. So we'd add an API here and we'd add the link to Postgre into that as well. The interface that we're going to use ultimately in the web and the web client, but the web is going to be the startup project. So it's going to still have an interface of, an iRepository or whatever we decide to do there. And by the way, again, all I'm going to do is if people are quiet and don't have much of a contribution, it's okay. I will build things the way that I want to build them, and then we can debate and argue and complain about things later on. There is a Discord channel for this project as well, so if you have any questions, thoughts, opinions on what I've done, how I'm doing it, if you check out the code and you want to chat about it, you're more than welcome to. Mr. Anhorn, 64 months. Thank you very much. I hope you are well. I hope you are relaxing today. That's crazy. 64 months. Is it weird? Like, I know I have the icons. Have you gone past the icons though? Oh no, you got the founder badge. That's why. Yep, just join. You have the founder badge. I was like, did I put a Nintendo 64 icon on 64 months? Yeah. Dear. Okay. So we'll find out about this with Postgre. Is that what it suggests? With reference. Yeah, with reference to Postgre. Postgre. I'm flip-flopping really quickly on those things. Okay. So now, does that give me, what does that give me? Let's have a look. When .NET Aspire adds a container image to the app host as shown in the preceding example with the Docker library Postgre image, it creates a new PostgreSQL server instance on your local machines. A reference to your PostgreSQL server and your Postgre database instance are used to add a dependency to the example project. You have the most set up. I wish we could pick the one to show. Like, yeah, pick your. How can I do that? No, I can't Can I do that? No, I can't control that, can I? Because you are right, it would be pretty cool from being able to set a badge for yourself like that. Yeah. But I can't make the badges available so you can select the badge either. Like, yeah. Yeah. I think I got the tiers out to as far as I could get them out to though. Add PostgreSQL web, PG web, PostgreSQL server, data resource for data volume. Not messing around with data volumes right there a second. We can worry about, because what's going to happen is if I bring it up and down, the data is going to disappear, but we'll worry about data binding in a minute. First, we need to worry about getting the database. Then we need to worry about building the context and getting it to start up and migrate. I don't remember seeing anything. PostgreSQL core with reference. What's the difference between EF core? What entity framework core integration? Client integration, Aspire NPG SQL. Ah, okay. So that's all we do there. So what we do on the client, and it still feels kind of janky. NPG SQL. I think entity framework core. Yeah. We add this package into the web. Okay. Is that adding or no? Come on. Not found. I'm asking you to find stuff in my Baguette. Oh, no, that's why. Did Baguette? No, Baguette's not. Why is this still all up? Oh, tell me this is down. So the problem is one of... Okay, finally installed. Mars, good morning. Who's ready for another great week? I am ready for a different week. So tomorrow will be the last stream of the week because I am traveling for work for the remainder of the week into even colder temperatures. So to do planning, so that's going to be a challenging week. But here's to a great week, though. Okay, so we have an app, we have a builder, we should be able to go documentation, documentation, documentation. So what they're saying is we can go to the builder, put you a wonderful button on and you still try and select. We can do that. So we can, that would need to go there. Interesting. And that would be, because we set up that there, that would be developers.stream as the connection name, right? So let's add our context. Add, so we need to, let's restart beget. I'm hoping the beget instance isn't corrupted, because that would be really bad. Well, it wouldn't be bad. It's just, I'm not, yeah, it's corrupted, isn't it? I don't use it, but I don't want to mess around with that right this second. So we need entity framework core in here. Again, if you have any questions, thoughts, opinions on what I'm doing, please feel free to share. I'm trying to build a project, but the project is going to be an open source one. It will be available here. My goal is basically by next week, the structure of the application is in place. We've got the database pieces. We can do queries. We can do commands, and we can start to build on some of those pieces. So if someone wants to go off and play with the layout or the UI, they can do that without having to worry about where the data comes from. The long-term goal of this project is I will build this application. I will produce a runnable version of this and host that version. And so at some point I will probably fork the project so that the version that I'm deploying is not prone to yeah. Traveling into colder weather does not sound fun. It's 21 degrees here this morning. Yeah, it's currently about, what does it think it is right in a second? It dropped to 8. No, it's 20 now. Yeah, we'll see. Drew Monkey, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome in. So let's get our context here. I always create a directory for context and end up with one context, but it's fine. It just helps clean it up. And this is we'll call it application DB context for now, because there may be some differences. Really? No. Go away. DB context options of application DB context options DB context options. So we are going to need the no problem. I've been thinking about streaming my coding adventure and I'm glad to see someone else doing it. There's always room for sharing what you care about, what you do. If you're going to stream, the best advice I can give you is find a time that works and stream consistently if you want to build up people hanging out with you, because schedules, etc. It's so hard to sift through all the game dev to find coding streams. There aren't many coding streams that are, so there's big streams that do have some coding, but there's a lot of entertainment stuff in there. There's a lot of extra stuff in there. If you're just wanting to find coding and stuff, yeah, there's not many. But that's why I'm building this, right? This platform is intended to help find those things for you. So if you want to go off and find C# developers or Rust developers or whatever that are building things, and they can tell, So yeah, let's get this at least structured out, and then we'll talk about what we do next. public db set of channel. About a specific level, watch as the stream turns into a talk show. I mean, everyone's there for, how do I put this? Oh, we've got an overloaded term. Oh. That's going to trip me up. We'll come back around on that in a second. People go into a stream and they want different things from it, right? Some people like the chat. Some people like to hang out. Some people find it very productive to have someone being productive in the background. They don't want the chat necessarily. And it's difficult to be all thing to all people. I look for people to tell me if there's a particular aspect they care about or they want to do more. And that's why I offer the Discord as a way to chat. And also, you know, as you know, we've been hanging out there more and more recently. And I like that. I've really enjoyed just sitting there doing some stuff and talking. And I've been very productive doing that. And I liked, I'm a big fan of, you know, hanging out and doing that sort of stuff. Okay. I like hanging out in the Discord, listening to your work process. It's pretty cool. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming hanging out and chatting. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I do enjoy that. So this is going to be application DB context. So now this is going to take a reference to the infrastructure layer, but only the infrastructure layer right this second, right? It's okay for web. So if you look at a clean architecture diagram, by the way, you have the web and the infrastructure on the outside. You have the application on the inside ring, and then you have domain on the core. So the domain is the behavior and the things without all the context of what technologies they're using necessarily. Yeah. Add. So why won't this work? We added the Postgre. Oh, hold on. Add. Hold on. Using NPG SQL. Framework call. Let's see what it gives me now. Not giving me anything for the database. Did I have the right library? You are in Aspire. Oh, you're in Aspire. That's what I'm missing. Oh no, I added Aspire, didn't I? No, I added NPG SQL, not Aspire version of it. Got to add the Aspire version of it. That I don't know enough about how Aspire is meant to come together to be able to be truly critical of this piece. But my understanding so far was that Aspire was kind of like an organizing technology that allowed you to still have the disconnected components of your system, but all tied up neatly into an app host and to bring it together so you can manage it. What that scares me about is I've just included an Aspire specific version of a library in my application, which means now I can't do anything but use the Aspire tools because it's got the code built into it. I assume for service discovery there. So it's going to, when I start up, it's going to discover the connection from the app host, or it's going to copy pieces in. I don't rightly know, so I can't say for certain, but I don't like that because, again, up until now, I've been able to say, you know what, Aspire just seems like a nice, like a wrapper, a container into which to build things. But now I have an Aspire specific component in there, and that's not something I'm a fan of. I mean, it gives me that, but it's not. Yeah. But now how do I add connection factory, which is a common way of using this? There's no connection factory. So now I have to inject DB context connection. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying. I don't like this because now my stuff has a direct Aspire connection. It's not a wrapper anymore. It's an integral part of a stack, right? Like the app host, yeah, I get it. Setting up the database, the stuff that I do in Liquid Sky, like the Docker pieces, setting up Kafka, setting up all those pieces. I get that piece. That makes perfect sense. But the moment I make a link back to Aspire from my client, now I've got a dependency on a Microsoft library for Aspire to be able to use my thing. It's not a direct connection, the Aspire connections. But now if I take this and I don't want to use Aspire, how do I use this? I have to change all this out. I'm not saying that I'm not being I'm not overreacting here. I'm being, my opinion here could be very wrong. Right. It's just the building the dependency straight into the application layer doesn't feel, or rather the layer here doesn't feel. Yeah. Because now how do I deploy the application if I've got a hard-coded dependency to an app host, but, well, not hard-coded dependency, but I hope I'm making my thought clear enough here that it makes sense. But yeah. Right, I know deployment is not Aspire's job, but then how do I deploy this when it's got a link to an Aspire piece without Aspire? You see my point? I mean, we can worry about it later. It's not a massive thing. It's just, yeah. So now, yeah. I don't know whether slow down. I don't know whether I'm expressing myself clearly enough or correctly enough to be able to say. That Aspire package just defaults on top of MPG SQL. But it's using that. I don't need a connection string. It's not in my configuration. Where does that come from? Let's not worry about that right a second. Right now, everything's running in Aspire. Okay. I think it's the connection string. Okay, if the connection string is injected into the settings during the startup, and that's what that pulls, that's one thing. So then, as long as the connection string's there, it will work later. That's okay. It's just knowing that magic's going on. I appreciate that Aspire's doing a lot for you. It's just it's doing a lot for you, and it takes away some of the control, so that when you need to go fix something or you don't understand how something's bound together, it's hidden. And yeah, thus ends my rant. I'm fine. Introduce Postgre into app host, added DB context with current domain, and link, and introduce and added components to web. Big shift in thinking. It is, and maybe it's because I've always been anti-magic, I suppose. I don't want things hidden from me. And I get it, there's a lot of magic that goes on when you do, even when you do web application create builder. There's all sorts of stuff that goes on there. It's no different to that, if I'm being honest. It's just I liken it to async await. You could write it yourself, but those keywords make it easy to do async in C#. Yes. Yeah. And maybe, and my hope is, and the reason I'm doing this is that by the time I've got through building this in Aspire and we're using it effectively, and I've built an actual application that has all the right components, I will have more respect for Blazor, I will have more respect for Aspire, and I will be more comfortable using these components and be able to share that energy as I go forward. I don't want to be the grumpy old person that's like, oh, no, it's new, I can't use new, right? But I also like building applications, and I like understanding the pieces, and I don't like the idea of having to debug quirky like libraries built to hide away, pieces for me. I don't need total hand holding. But never mind. In 6 months' time, I'm like, okay, here's the Aspire version of Liquid Sky. Here's how it's all working now. It's changed. We're going to do all this in Aspire. Yeah. Oh, so you really don't like the JS? The client for Liquid Sky is currently on the floor crying. It doesn't work. There's the features that are in there right now don't work properly. Yeah, I've got to rebuild a ton of stuff. So JavaScript is its own pain that I don't like. I upgraded Angular. Angular worked fine. I upgraded PrimeNG. Oh, everything went because the library decided, you know what? These standalone things are really good. Let's lean into these. Let's change all this. Let's change how modules work. Let's change how our complete library works. Let's break our library up into themes and components and fonts, and yeah, change your entire design methodology in 2 versions. That was stunning. We have a context. I'm going to make an executive decision on this one, right? For my simplicity, and I don't care, pushed out some neat features to my web Blazor Maui app, like being able to log in with Twitch. I'm really liking the capacity of building a web and desktop version of an app. Nice. I'm going to use our Dallas.specification. Like it, don't like it, it will introduce some abilities that are nice. It does, however, come with a cost. Application repository. Context. It abstracts away handling some of those entities. The entity. I specific. How did I need to refresh my memory on how I actually did this with. Yeah, see that does that. We need a specification. Repository. Why is that? How do I do it in Liquid Sky? And is it in? I've not used it. What does the specification package do? So specifications, what I use all over the place in Liquid Sky to try and abstract link queries and stuff. So if I want access to a list, a collection of data, tenant management is probably planning, right? So if I want to do, update planning item, right? I can say repository.first to default and give it a spec. Now this spec can, come on. This specifies what would normally be from R in, or P in planning items where command identify, where, P dot identifier equals command identifier, right? So I can line these up. You can also use them for doing things like deletes and adds and stuff. So you can kind of build out specifications that are quite rich. You can do mapping in there, etc. But it just allows you to keep all the link statements away from the code. So the code is just literally go to repository, get data. And specifications is the way of, here I say, okay, if I give it an identifier, build that. If I give it an ID, give it that, and it can deal with both, right? And I can specify all the joined objects, etc. So then when this comes back, I can actually refer to the associated projects, the attachments, the comments, requirements, and I have the specification there. And I can also get a single one of it. So I can use this to get a collection. I mean, internally, right? Because of the way this is specified, it's just an ID. But it does allow me to break those link queries out of there and make quite complicated link queries in here. But I can do ordering, I can do whatever. In this case, I do no tracking, right? Because I'm updating it. I check if there's no changes, and then I call the service to do the actual piece. So I don't need the actual tracking on there. And also with no tracking, because the way EF's working here, I was getting the previous version cached. So the no tracking allows me to just disconnect that, and I get exactly, I always guarantee a query against the database. But yeah, it just means these read nicely. And if I'm just after, and I can describe what I'm actually after here. So it's kind of a way of, in link, if you write a large link query, it would be nice if you could break it out as a named thing, so you don't have this massive link statement and then your code. Imagine if you can just write it and then describe what that link statement is as a spec. So you say this is, fetch all the planning items for a month spec. I need to find a good project that uses database more. I've been using mostly the file system for my database lately. Okay. So what I'm looking for here is I have a pattern. So in the infrastructure, I get a planning repository, and this is a repository. So this is my implementation. Yeah, that's how I specify it. Okay. So over here, we need infrastructure. Let's do contrast for right a second. Let's do repository. It's really kind of shared kernel, but we'll come back around on that. This takes the DB context, and that's an iRepository from my stuff. Okay. And that's just that. And that's his. So now I can, on here, say this is going to be Let's go back to planning repository. I can just say it's a repository of DB context. There you go. So repository entity where T entity is a class. So what that does is allows me to, in here, I can say builder.add. Oh, builder.services. There we go. That's what I'm missing. Builder.services.add transient. No, add scoped, I think I want here. I've not told my wife yet, but the avatar app is also for me. I want to use it to create AI avatars. Nice. So it has a really robust API to allow for external programs to integrate with it. Huh. Huh. I've this weekend actually experienced more AI stuff than I've done ever. Mojo sat down with me and we kind of went through some Liquid Sky stuff to try and get some guidance on UI UX and stuff because it needs it. It doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look great. So we went through and tried to get some guidance, and it came up with some really good stuff. And it's quite eye-opening, the amount of information you have to provide it and the amount of information it will give you and how you feed it back into a constant cycle. That was quite impressive from an AI perspective. That's the most I've ever gone near that. Yeah, that was fun. I'm just going to wire this up so that it's done for next time. So the way this works is you basically specify somewhere, he says, repository, where do I add database, add repositories. So add repositories basically just says, okay, actually I should probably make them scoped. The concept there is you say, okay, add scoped type of repository that, right? To right now, application repository. I think that's valid. Yeah. Cool. I think AI is really good at helping more than generating from scratch. Yeah. It gave us some good insights. It gave me some good vision as to there wasn't too much new introduced to it from it, but it did allow us to kind of visualize where things might lie and how to represent some of the bigger things. So yeah, use the GitHub AI workspace at work and it's pretty competent working in our already built front ends. Cool. But yeah, it did give us a bit more color, and I'll share that once it's up and running again. But right now it's on the floor, broken. So what this allows us to, doing it this way, what this allows us to do is in the application when we come up to it, let's say we query, query streamers, get streamers, and let's say, and again, I'm going to go with the pattern I know, right? Public class handler. You inject an iRepository of streamer, right? Reference domain, reference infrastructure. It's okay, application to reference infrastructure, I believe. Yes, I think it is okay. And then enumerable. This is temporary, so you would basically do var repository, var streamers equals repository dot list async, and then new. Let's get live streamers. Live streamers spec, right? And then you create a spec. Now the beauty is you can actually use the same specs to do deletes or queries, so you can copy them and use them. So if you need a query to go and get a load of data, and then you need to use the same query to delete the load of data, you can use the same spec. So you can say query with the spec, delete with the spec, and it will do the same thing. Specifications, let's be clear. And this is live streamer spec. So then this just becomes a specification of streamer. You can also use this to transform. So if you want to return a view model or something, you can return the result here, and it will give you the ability to transform it in here. Right. And then in here, just do query dot where s goes to s dot. Actually, I want to do dot include s goes to s dot channels dot where s goes to s dot channels dot any c goes to c dot. I didn't introduce live, did I? I didn't introduce live as a concept. URL. Let's just do not string dot is or empty. All right. But now over here, I can just do new live streamer spec. And now I've got a list of active live streamers based upon that query. So it increases readability of the code. It increases somewhat the reusability. A lot of times those queries are going to be the same thing, but there's a lot where I have like a common entity query. I'm like, just go get entity by identifier, and I can just specify the entity, and it gives that abstraction so I don't end up writing from whatever. Oh, neat. I might try out my state later. It'll help to break up that class. It's getting pretty big. Yeah. So anyway, that is that. So I'm going to have to finish up here. We're going to go right down. I am streaming tomorrow, but that is the last day of the week for me for streaming tomorrow. I'm out for the remainder of the week. We will return to developers.stream next Monday. Try and make some of this work and get some of these queries working and start to get some of that data coming down to the client and see if we can build those cards that way. And we'll continue to build out on that. So yeah. Again, if you're new to the stream, if you're interested in talking more about coding, if you're interested in chatting, there is a Discord that you're more than welcome to join. There's a lot of Discords out there. It's not the busiest of Discord. I never ping. I don't often ping people, but we do hang out there in voice chat quite a few times a week recently. So that's been nice, getting a more active community to chat with. So, but yeah, that's that. Let's go raid Dan. Hopefully he doesn't finish before I do. Dan has been building a game, his first game using Godot for a while. Super nice guy, super chill guy. Looks like he's having a long stream today, which is awesome. He's also sharing that with Sinisberry, who's another streamer. I will be back tomorrow morning for some Liquid Sky. Hopefully it looks better based upon what I can get done today. And we'll see where that goes. So thank you for joining me. Take care and have a great rest of your day. If you're having holiday, enjoy. Take care.